Hey everybody, it's Calvin the Go here, and I'm here discussing One Piece. I'm going to be talking about the Flying Six and why, to me, they were very disappointing. And I feel like a lot of people share the same sentiment as me. I think it's to the point where a lot of us even kind of forgot about a vast majority of the members of the Flying Six, right? Like these are guys that were relatively hyped up. They're the people who are right under the commanders, similar to someone like an Oven or Daifuku, right? Or even a Parasparrow per se. So I'm going to get into that as well. Um, it's just to me they were just overall very underwhelming when it comes to just how much I like them and power as well. So I don't really think they checked off many of the boxes at all, besides a couple of them, which I will sing and I'll make sure to sing aloud a couple of the Flying Six, who I really enjoyed their presence when they were on the page or on the screen. But the vast majority of them are just very underwhelming and forgettable characters. I think a lot of us, as we move on to the next saga, are just gonna kind of forget most of them even existed, right? Like, I think guys like Page One and Sasaki are some of the most like underwhelming and like just very very minor characters who seems like they would have a much higher role in the story, but they really just kind of felt flat, right? So the first Flying Six member I want to talk about is Drake, ex Drake, who obviously it turns out that he was never really an actual member of the Beast Pirates of the Flying Six because he was a member of Sword. So, in my opinion, that kind of knocks down the whole group as a whole right off the bat before the war even started because we knew that they weren't really that he wasn't even really a member of the Beast Pirates. So when we were thinking, oh yeah, there's gonna be six guys who are a member of Kaido's crew who are relatively powerful. They kind of get nerfed right away, right? Like they get nerfed before the war even starts. He never was a member of the Beast Pirates. Really, he just was, undercover trying to spy and all that. We don't really know what his true mission was. Really, I think honestly, Drake's whole performance or presence in the war was very weak, in my opinion. I think if he wasn't even involved in the whole battle or Wano in general, nothing really changes. Uh, to me, he kind of adds to the disappointment because even if he was a little more exciting of a character, if he had a little more weight to him, maybe I'd be a little more intrigued in the Flying Six as a whole because I guess he would still kind of count in a way. But I know a lot of people if they were talking about the Flying 60 maybe wouldn't even talk about Drake. But to me, even if he was like a member of them, I think he was just super underwhelming in general. As a character, as a worst generation. To me, I think I was relatively high on Drake because I was like, okay, he's probably gonna have Rokushiki techniques on top of a hybrid. Maybe he would have awakening. Like I was trying to like kind of build him up in my brain on how powerful I think that someone like X Drake would be, especially what all the training he should have had on top of the Zone Del fruit. But he fell way short for me in terms of power, in terms of character. He kind of just was running around doing nothing, honestly. Uh, got low dipped a little bit by the CP0 agent. Even got a sneak shot on him just to get whacked again. So his power wasn't really impressive. I wasn't really seeing the zone durability. I don't know. To me, Drake was just someone who was just there. And I think if he didn't have the moniker being one of the members of the worst generation or a supernova, I don't think anyone would have any reason to care about him. If he was like a Paro Sparrow type, if he was like one of those guys who just kind of like in the background somewhere. Actually, I'm not even gonna disrespect Paro Sparrow. If he was like a Monday or like one of the random Big Mom pirates, would anyone really care about him, or would he just be a guy there? Right? Like there was nothing he's done the whole time that's ever really been impressive. He was kind of clashing with Apu a bit. I guess that's his best feat. I don't know. Overall, he's just one of the many disappointments of the Flying Six overall for me. I really just didn't have anything to say about him. I think he's just kind of made a character overall. Next, another disappointment, someone who had not that bad of a start if I had to be real. Page One. Going back talking about Page One. When he appeared, he had his little, he was tearing up the city, all that kind of stuff. Had the little clash with Sanji. Most of the fight was off screen. I think Oda just never really had that much thought and care on what he wanted to do with Page One's character. As I kind of think more back to him, because like originally he was like a very cookie cutter villain, right? He was just like, oh, show me who you are, blah 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 blah, and it's attacking. Like there was no good dialogue. There was no like real meaning to him. He was just like, show me who you are, like running around attacking Sanji. which, honestly, I kind of would have liked that better. Because then when we see him as an actual character, which I like his design, don't get me wrong, I like his design, but it's like the little siscon thing, like getting beat up by his getting beat up by his sister and all this stuff, and uses stairs and all this. Like, I don't know, it's just, to me, his character overall was just kind of like just the butt of the joke every single time. Like, he never really got to do anything of significance. It was kind of impressive that all the endurance that he had, where Nami and Usopp were attacking him, and nothing really was happening. But we know those guys aren't even really the powerhouses of the crew, so I can't even really say how impressive that is per se. Like, when the weakest members of the Strides are attacking you and they're not able to do damage, that's not really impressive. It was more impressive back when he was fighting with Sanji in the raid suit, when he was able to tank those attacks. But obviously Sanji got a level up and he would absolutely obliterate him if they fought again. But the point I'm trying to make here is Page One didn't really do anything, and I really didn't like how Oda handled the Page One and the whole mothering mode thing, where he had Big Mom low div Page One. That really serves nothing for the story, in my opinion. Like, someone of that caliber is not someone you can even give a beat to when it comes to a Yonko. When you become a Yonko, when you become an admiral, someone who isn't even a commander is not, like, they're not even in your bracket. Like, they're not even in your tier. They're like multiple tiers away from you. So it's not even impressive when Big Mom does that, right? It just looks kind of dumb that, oh yeah, here's Big Mom helping the Straw Hat side again, being who really Big Mom always was like a negative on her own people's side. So it's like, and that's a whole different story. I could talk about Big Mom for a long time. But the point of the matter is that Page One's end was very anticlimactic. Just got loaded by a Conqueror's Hockey Punch, and that was it. Like, never went back to him. It was just, it was it. Pepe's done, right? So to me, he kind of had a little bit of potential, but when you look back at it, it was kind of weak from the beginning, in my opinion. Like, he was just a cookie cutter villain. He had nothing to say. He was just attacking and not really doing much, right? The next Flying Six member I wanted to talk about is Sasaki. Now, Sasaki is someone who I had a little bit higher expectations for than Page One and then some of the other ones. It seems like Oda was trying to separate Sasaki and Husu from the rest of them when King was talking about how those two were captains before. And a lot of us in the community, before they had their fights, before anything happened, were kind of like, all right, these are the Top Gun guys. These are probably the guys who are closest to being commander level opposition. These are like a Parasparrow type kind of fighter in terms of that tier. To me, Sasaki fell way short of that, right? From the goofy little helicopter things. Okay. Maybe I won't talk about him being goofy. It's just the fact that he did not seem effective in anything that he did, right? Um, as a Zoan, your main thing is always going to be durability and endurance and stamina. But for him, he has such a glaring weakness that, oh, it's just his stomach. Like, if you hit him in the stomach, he's gonna get messed up. Like, that's such a an underwhelming weakness for someone who's supposed to be such of a tank, right? Like, a tank like that has such a glaring weakness. Just hit him in the stomach a couple times and he's done. Literally, all Frankie needed to do was do a V for victory slash on his stomach, and then one radical beam to the stomach. Like, dude, here I was thinking that this guy was going to be relatively close to commanders, but if he fought someone like Queen, like let's say if he challenged Queen for that position of being a commander, bro, Queen would absolutely eviscerate him. I mean, if all it takes is one laser, all Queen does is fire lasers. So it's like he would get blow dip, like he wouldn't even touch him. Like, I don't even think of a way how he would get any damage on him. Um, Especially because Queen has shown more durability than him and taking more hits from Marco and all these different people, Marco and Big Mom and Sanji. It's like, to me, Sasaki might be the most disappointing one just because of where Oda kind of propped him up from the start. It seemed like Oda was really trying to prop up Sasaki and Who's Who as like the top gun guys of the Flying Six, and to me, he just fell way short. Um, like, there was nothing I really cared about him. Honestly, like, I think he's another one of those guys who just seems like a background character. Like, if he didn't have the Flying Six title, if he wasn't, and I remember it, and I kind of cringed at one of the. I remember what was one of his lines. He said, "Oh, the reason the Beast Pirates are feared is because of the Flying Six." Really, really, come on. I don't think anyone in the world would really say that. Like that doesn't make any sense to me. The Flying Six are super fodder. I think one admiral could defeat them all easily. Honestly, like if you bring like I honestly, in my opinion, if you bring like Kizaru back and then have him try to do a battle against the all of them like you did against the Supernova, I think it'd be a very similar situation. Maybe they get a couple hits in because they do have armament hockey and stuff like that, and observation hockey. They have hockey at least, most of them, but a lot of them didn't even end up showing it. And when they did show it, it ended up getting thwarted. So I really have no reason to care about the hockey or the abilities of the Flying Six period, especially someone like Sasaki, who I had relatively high expectations for. And Frankie kind of won really easily. His main body never really got touched. Frankie didn't really have to evolve in the battle. Like I think he won just straight up solo dolo 1-on-1. And another thing I haven't really talked about is yes, the Straw Hats are impressive to be able to do this thing, but I feel like there should have been a little bit more resistance on most of these fights. The one fight, the next person I want to talk about is Black Maria. Black Maria actually had a relatively good showing in her battle. It also was someone that was assisted by Brooke. So Brooke and Robin kind of needed to team up together to defeat Black Maria. Obviously, Robin ended up winning solo dolo by herself. If and also when you think about it, if she brought out her Demonio Fleur right away, maybe she could have won. But we know how anime works. You get pushed to the edge, and then you unlock your ultimate move or use your ultimate move that you already have, kind of like a Gear 4 Doffy thing. We know that Luffy wouldn't never just straight up go Gear 4th when right off the bat of the fight. Like that doesn't those kind of things don't happen in anime. Even if it makes sense to you, it's never gonna happen in anime or manga. But to me, Maria did show a lot of versatility. I honestly was very impressed with her showing. To be honest, I think in terms of the one-on-one fights, I think she had the best one-on-one fight. I think a lot of people revere the Robin and Black Maria fight as the strongest of all of them. I think it had really good character moments. Um, Honestly, it had good action too. So I think it was to me it was the best fight of the Flying Six fights, bar none. I don't even think it was close. Um, One that could have been close was Husu and Jinbei if it was maybe a little bit longer, but that one felt like a really short, concise battle. But Robin and Black Maria, honestly, it seemed like a war, especially in the anime. Black Maria was really getting those hits in on her, so I was honestly overall Black Maria. I think I'm fine with her, to be honest. If they all were a little more like Black Maria, I think no one would have anything to complain about because she showed competence on many different ways. So I have nothing really to complain about when it comes to Black Maria. I think she was a relatively fine opponent for Robin, and I really was happy with how the fight turned out. So that's that there. Honestly, Black Man, 2 thumbs up. I really appreciate her character. I think she was pretty solid, honestly. Um, Now we're getting to who's who. I think the worst part about the Who's Who and Jinbei battle is that people don't even remember what happened in the fight as much as they remember some of the drops. It's like he was just a lord nut more than an actual combatant. Uh, if he didn't have the Sun God Nika stuff going on there, what would you really remember about that battle? Like Jinbei just was stronger. He was a little racist to Jinbei. He was a little talking about for a fishman, blah blah blah, and then got his ass whooped. That's all that happened. He just got his butt whooped, and they moved on. Like there was nothing really to talk about there, right? It was honestly, it was a super mid fight to me, just because there was no tension in my opinion. Jinbei was just better, point blank. Period. Who's who I had a lot of high hopes for, very underwhelming. Now, the Flying Six that I actually like the most is Ulti. Ulti had plenty of clashes and battles. I wasn't a fan of how she went out at the end, but she clashed with Luffy, she clashed with Yamato, she got hit by Big Mom, Nami, Usopp. Honestly, I really liked Ulti. She was really fun when she was on screen. I liked her headbutting attacks. I liked her attitude. I liked how she was talk mess to Kaido. She would talk mess to Luffy, talk mess to Big Mom. I loved her attitude, her spunk. She really was impressive to me. Honestly, I really liked her more than anyone. And to me, she was the strongest of the Flying Six because all of the hits that she took throughout the war, and she kept getting up time and time again. a combined attack, really a serious attack from Oyonko, and she got back up. Even after her inside should have been fried from that attack, she got up. So to me, Ulti was super impressive. I don't have a whole lot to say about her just because I really enjoyed the character. Overall, Ulti and Black Maria, I give those guys or girls 2 thumbs up. Let me know what you guys thought about the Flying Six. If you guys were disappointed in them. Uh, I know this is kind of a long video today, but I appreciate you guys for watching me today. Make sure you can like, share, and subscribe if you're new. And have a good day, guys. Calvin the Goat signing out. Peace out.